Greetings and welcome back to the Casual Wargamer. I had a couple of weeks break since the indices or data sheets were dropped, basically to see what the community thought of 10th edition, now that we've pretty much got everything out there. And with that in mind, what I thought of it. And there's a few things that I agree with, and there's a few things that I don't agree with, and a few things where I think people need to wind their neck in and sort of like stop being jerks about it. And I'm going to touch on those various points in this video. Firstly, I'm going to talk about points. So Games Workshop have stuck in 10th with fixed points costs. There's a lot of grumbles about this because people don't like it, and I can see why. But this is basically the same system that we have had for the last 6 months. The Arks of Omen Grand Tournament Pack gave us fixed points effectively with its data sheet update. The only difference between that and what 10th is giving us is 10th just basically goes, here's this unit is blah points. Whereas at least in the Arks of Omen update, some things like Thunderhammers or whatever were slightly more points. But that's all been scaled down now. On a lot of units, things like Thunderhammers are heirloom weapons or equivalent. It's kind of copying Age of Sigmar in just, this is a blanket term for this weapon. So that's kind of readjusted. But as I say, we've had this for 6 months. People should be used to it by now. They grumble that they can't max out their points. So you're playing a 1,000-point game, they can't get dead on 1,000 points. And I've never seen a reason why people worry about this. Just get as close as you can, and live with it. Play the game. I found it more frustrating when you had individual points costs for things, and you were struggling to try and fit that extra plasma pistol in, or you might have to drop a guy and go, or take a 6-man squad or whatever, when you didn't really want to, just to try and rejiggery the points to get that 1,000-point dead on. This, I think, you're rarely going to get 1,000 points dead on, unless you're really tweaking your list. But I don't think that min-maxing or minutia format of list building is overly relevant now. There are certain things you're going to want to take, and there's things you're probably not going to want to take, but you haven't got to min-max things. So yeah, I think people need to just chill on this. I don't think Games Workshop are going to change it. There's been talk that maybe the Space Marine and Tyranid codices will have updated points and they will include options. I don't think they will. I think it would be very unfair on index or data card armies if armies that get codices before them can fine-tune things again. So I don't think it's going to happen. I think this is the way now for 40k. The next thing is the rule system itself. There are issues. I get it. I really do get it. I did that video a couple of weeks ago about the Eldari army being banned in a tournament. And I said then, people need to wait and see what's what. Well, actually now I agree with it. A friend of mine who does play Eldari played a couple of practice games against a friend of his and said to me that basically he had won the game. He had tabled his opponent, or his opponent had basically conceded halfway through, turn 3 on most games. It was literally a case of the Eldari armies were blasting them off the table. So yeah, maybe Games Workshop do need to take a look at that if it's that bad. But we couldn't tell this by the data sheets, really. You needed to see how these things played out first. But in this time, hey, they were right. And I think Games Workshop do need to provide an adjustment for this. However, this isn't where I see a lot of grumbles. Some of my gaming friends are really sort of up in arms, and I don't agree with them. They are complaining that 10th edition has robbed their armies of the things that made them fun, that made them enjoyable to play. Mainly on this, I'm seeing this being referred to for Drukhari, Orcs, and Chaos Demons, because they don't have a lot of what they used to have. Orcs aren't sort of like random anymore. This system doesn't really use anything like that. There's no things like you had with Be'lakor and Skarbrand, where they just went no armor save, no vulnerable save, smack, smack, smack. Lethality has been reduced, and I think that's why they don't like it. They like blasting models off the table, and they like playing that style. This edition isn't going to do it. There's still a lot of lethality, and there's still a lot of models are still going to die. It's just not necessarily going to be as strong in combat. And I think 10th is very much geared to the battle shock phase. It's going to be trying to force your opponent to battle shock so they can't hold objectives. Tyranny is going to be really good for this. Demons are going to be really good for this. There are certain units that can force battle shock tests, and some of them with penalties. It's going to be trying to dominate the board through this, wipe out enough models to lower their OC if needs be, but you're trying to essentially drop their OC to 0 and then steal those objectives. I think it's a tactic that's going to be very different to how we've played 40k before. And I just think people need to learn to adapt. I heard the same sort of complaints when 7th rolled into 8th. I heard people going, it's not fun, the armies don't do what they used to do anymore. Guys, you need to adapt. You need to change. This is not, I've said this before, and I say it many times to people, you cannot look at a new edition of 40k as a new edition. 8th was a completely different game to 7th. 10th is a completely different game to 9th. You need to take 10th as a completely new game, scrap everything you had before and just play this one and learn this one and get, I was about to say get good, but you know what I mean. I don't mean it in that negative sort of context. But learn the game, play the game, have fun with it. Now, this, that's something that really bugs me with people at the minute, complaining about the game system when, they haven't even had the opportunity to try it. But there is something that other people have said, and I do agree, I think, on this, which is really bad, and it's on Games Workshop's head. And that, very much simply, is it feels like now we've got everything. We've got the rule book, we've got all the data sheets, we've got the points. People are playing games, and it really looks like Games Workshop have dumped a beta test on us, and we're the ones beta testing it. We're the ones going, look, guys, this doesn't work. There's too many mortal wounds. Death Guard are underpowered. Some people are saying O's the Moment is overpowered. I actually disagree, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a Space Marine player. I think that's perfectly fine. But there are various little interactions. There's too many ways to gain mortal wounds or cause mortal wounds. And these do need to be adjusted down. If you're trying to remove the lethality to the game, why have you made it so easy to kill through mortal wounds? And people are going to build their lists like this. Now that there is no proper detachment, and you're just picking a character BHQ and then whatever the hell you want, up to a 3 limit or 6 for an individual battle line, people are just going to be trying to build those lists which inflict the most mortal wounds or inflict the most damage as quickly as possible. And it's not gelling with the design philosophy that Games Workshop have told us about 10th. So with that in mind, what are my thoughts? I liked 9th. I keep saying this. I've said this in other videos. I liked 9th. It had too many stratagems, but otherwise it was a brilliant game system. Mechanically, it worked very, very well. And I would still quite like it if they kept 9th going. But 10th is here, and we all have this mindset whenever a new edition is announced, oh my God, they're messing with my game. But we all pick the rules up, we all start playing them, and we have a good time. And I think that's the way to look at it now. Just try and enjoy the game. Just try and enjoy 10th. I'm looking forward to playing it now. In fact, at the time of this video, I'm recording this on the evening of the 21st, which is a Wednesday. The upcoming Tuesday, I've got my first 10th edition game. I've got a second one coming up late in the week, and then I've got my first mini tournament on the Saturday. So I really want to try and throw myself into 10th, find out what works. And with this new system and everybody being on the same boat to start with, I'm looking forward to actually trying to improve my game through it. I think the likes of 8th and 9th, it was very difficult to play casual and deal with competitive play. I think while there's still going to be an element of that, I do think that 10th is probably, at least to start with, going to be a good addition for someone like me, just as it is for somebody that really wants to climb the tables at a tournament or a league or whatever. Games Workshop just need to fix a few issues, and then maybe we can see. I mean, I'm fully expecting day one to have an FAQ and an errata. I think they already know what they've done. But by the time it's ready to go out and they've thrown these data sheets out to us, this stuff is already printed. It's already good to go. I fully much think that we are going to get downloads on Saturday, and we're just going to have to sort of like readapt. The only other thing I'm going to raise at this point before I end the video is, as of today, the new 40K app is up on your whatever web store, Apple Store, Google Play, whatever. It's nice. It does work a lot better than the old one. It's still got a couple of minor bugs, but nothing major, and it does alert you when something is incorrect. My issue with it is this. When at some point soon, they're going to charge you for it. You'll still be able to use it to look through the units and everything else, but you want to use the army builder, you're going to have to pay for it. Because Battlescribe is basically persona non grata at the moment. The people that used to do the updates of 40K have basically said, sod you to the developer, and they're going to create their own app. I believe it's called Phalanx, or Project Phalanx. So we're not going to have a third-party free army builder to start with. Now, my problem with this is the Age of Sigmar one doesn't charge you. It's a free app. But they're going to make you pay for the 40K one. Games Workshop, stop being idiots. Let people build their lists on this thing. If you want them to have the updated stuff, then they're going to have to buy the codex and put the code in to get all the extra details and new units and stuff. That's how you do it. Get people buying the books and using your app. Because I can guarantee you now, as soon as you start charging for it, that little app's getting deleted off of people's phones. I know it will do on mine. Sorry, but I'm not paying to use an army builder. Now, you're a business and everything, but this isn't the way to do it. Anyway, I'm looking forward to 10th. The more I've been a bit up and down as we've had previews and it's gone along, but I am actually really psyched for this. I'm really looking forward to giving it a go, and I hope you are too. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. Oh, cool. I've just noticed the video's dragged on a little bit longer than I had intended. Thank you for watching. Any comments and thoughts, pop them down below. Give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so we can help the channel grow. And until next time, take care. Good gaming.